Alrighty, chapter 7 study guide. Here we go. Alright, first three questions we're solving proportions, so you're going to cross multiply. So we get 3 times x equals 2 times 15, which is 30. Divide by 3, x equals 10. Next, we're going to, again, cross multiply. 3 times 7 is 21. And then 2 times x plus 2, we're going to have to distribute the 2 to each piece. So we get 21 equals 2x plus 4, subtract the 4 over, which is going to give us, I believe, 17. And then divide by 2, x should equal 8.5. Which, yes, decimals are okay. You will see decimals on the test as well. So don't fret. Number 3, definitely a more challenging one, and one we will see on the test. So cross multiply, and we get 12 times 15 equals x plus 4, and then x minus 7. So here we have two binomials multiplying, so we have a couple of options here. We can do what's called box method, or we could do, if we like, what's it called? We could do FOIL. So whichever one you want to do, doesn't really matter. I'm going to do FOIL. So first, x squared, outer, negative 7x, inside, 4x, and then last is going to be negative 28. Combine those like terms, so I get x squared minus 3x minus 28. So that's what we're going to get once we do that. So I get 12 times 15 is 180, that equals x squared minus 3x minus 28. I'm going to subtract the 180 over, so I'm going to end up with x squared minus 3x minus 208 equals 0. So I do have to factor this, and to factor, you put the back number on top, negative 208, and I put the middle number right there, negative 3. And we just have to figure out what two numbers multiply to this. And I would just take your calculator and do 208 and start dividing it by numbers and looking like, oh, look at 4 and 52. That's not going to make a difference of 3. And just keep going through it. You wind up with 16 and 13 as your answer, where 16 is negative, 13 is positive. That'll make a negative 3, but multiply to a negative 208. So you get x minus 16 and x plus 13 equals 0. So we just have to set each one of those equal to 0 to solve, and basically you're going to get the opposite values. So you're going to get a positive 16 and a negative 13. So there it is. Number 4, 2 complementary. So complementary is 90 degrees. So we're going to take this ratio, so it's 7x plus 11x equals 90. That's going to become 18x equals 90. 90 divided by 18 is going to give me x equals 5. Now it says find the measure of the smaller one, so 7 is smaller, so we're going to go 7 times 5. So we end up with 35. And that's degrees. The measure of the angles of a triangle are 8, 3, 4. We know triangles add up to 180. So we're going to do the same thing with the extended ratio. They're all in terms of the same triangle, so we can set them equal to 180 as their angles. Number 6 is different. It's the sides of a triangle, so we set it equal to the perimeter. So similar but different. So read carefully that you don't accidentally set it to the wrong number. Angles will set to 180. Sides we have to set to a perimeter. So anyways, the top one we get 8, 3, and 4. Adding together give me 15x equals 180. And then 180 divided by 15 is going to give us x equals 12. I'm trying to find the largest angle, so we're going to use 8. So 8 times 12 is going to give us 96. Doesn't give me, that's degrees. Boom. This one, 9, 12, and 5. So 9 plus 12 plus 5 is going to give us 26x equals 130. Divide by 26. And we should get, again, x equals 5. We got that earlier. And it says find the measure of the short side. So 5 is the short side. So we're going to do 5 times the 5 for the x. And that's going to give me 25 feet. Number 7, write the ratio of the measurements of the first to the second. So the first thing we need to get is the same units. Right now they're not. It's easier to take the larger piece and convert it into a smaller unit of measure. So feet are bigger than inches. So let's convert that. There's 12 inches in a foot, so I just have to multiply by 12. So 1.5 times 12 is 18 inches. So now I can compare them. So 2 to 18, and that reduces to 1 over 9. Always want to reduce our ratios. Okay. Number 8, scale factor. All we have to do is multiply the 14 and the negative 7 by our k value. So we just do 5 over 7 times 14. You could do this in your calculator, or this one's kind of easy because these will cross cancel, and that becomes 1 and 2. So I get 5 times 2 is 10. And then it actually happens again for the next one. The 7's cross cancel, so that becomes negative 5. And you're done. Number 9, to get the new scale factor, we're going to multiply by 4. To help us, it's very useful to actually have the points for all of these. I put them out of order. I thought I would have split the rest, but I didn't. So 1, 2, u is going to be 1, 0, t is going to be 3, 0, and s is going to be 2, 3. And so multiplying by 4, so we just have to multiply these by 4, so that's 4, 8. S is going to be 8, 12, and t is going to be 12, 0, and u is going to be 4, 0. Let me just plot those. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's R. Another one we have 4, 0, which is u. And then t is going to be at 12. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. There's t, 0. These are primes, by the way. And then s is going to be at 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And up 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there should be my new shape. Notice it looks like my original shape. It is just much larger, and we're dialing out from the origin. That's why it looks like it appears like it's moving away from the origin as we increase it. Number 10, we went over in class that this was a bad problem, so skip it. No, wait, no. Number 11, we're trying to find the scale factor, so that means we know these two shapes are similar. So I'm going from A to B, so I'm just going to pick two sides and then write them as a ratio and reduce it. That's all I have to do. I don't like the decimal, so I'm going to go with 36. How do I know which one it lines up? Well, 36 is greater than 25.2, so I'm going to go with the bigger side. So I know those two match up because they're the two biggest, so the bigs and the smalls have to go with each other. So it says A to B, so I have to do 36 over 20. I can reduce this in my calculator, or I can think what numbers go into 36 and 20. I believe it's 4 would go into both of these. That would be 9 and 5, and those do not reduce anymore, so my scale factor is 9 to 5. We do the same thing with 12. This time I'm going to go with the smallest ones. So 9 is the smallest here, 12 is the smallest here. Again, it doesn't matter as long as we say, let's go the small with the small, the big with the big, so on and so forth. But scale factor is just one ratio. We're going to go B to A. So I'm going to put 9 over 12, and I know 3 should go into those. And that's going to be 3 over 4. And so that's my ratio, 3/4. All right, the polygons are similar. Find the values of x and y. So we just want to match everything up first. And we can't match it by which one's the largest and smallest like we did on the last one because we have x and y, so we don't know what they are. But luckily we have these angles to help us match things up, and this shape is also pretty easily accessible for us because it appears to be in the same orientation, so highlighting it makes it much easier process for us. And so let's just highlight all of these, and then I'm just going to leave that one unhighlighted, but that means they match. So to set this up, we just have to be consistent and logical. So I want to set up a proportion. That's the only way we can find sides because sides are proportionate. And so what with y, we're going to get y over 12, so I'm going to keep going from left to right. And with the x, I'm going to go x to 9. Now, we have to set it up to another ratio, and the only ratio I can set it to has to not have a variable. So the greens or the non-ones are ratios I could set up that don't have numbers. I could use either one. I'm going to use 4 and 6 because they're smaller, and that means my math is easier. So 4 to 6, left to right, and I can use it again, 4 to 6, doesn't matter. Okay, they all should have the same ratio because they're similar. So we're going to cross multiply, we get 6y equals 4 times 12, I believe is 48. Divided by 6, and we get y equals 8. And then cross multiply here, we get 6x equals 4 times 9 is 36, I believe. Divided by 6, x equals 6 right there. Okay. Next one, again, we're going to line things up. A is going to go with 12 because it comes off those angles right there. 9 is going to go with 15, and B is going to go with 10. So again, let's set up the A's and B's. So I'm going to go left to right, so A over 12, and I want B over 10. So the one that has whole numbers are the yellow, 9 over 15. I can actually make my life a little bit easier. Instead of doing 9 over 15, I can simplify that. Because I know 3 goes in the bowl, so I could actually simplify that to 3 over 5. It's just going to make my numbers a little bit easier. And so we can cross multiply. So we got 5a equals 36. And we're going to get 5b equals 30. So 36 and 5 don't go in evenly, but we do end up with a, I guess this is a, is 7.2. And then that one does go in evenly 6 times, and we'll call this b is 6. And here we're doing the same thing. I actually found the scale factor up here as 3 over 5. So you just find one side that you have both numbers and you can simplify it. So that's kind of what we have to do in this one. Let's line things up. Now I can't do biggest to smallest, but we do have a similarity statement. So AB is the first 2 letters. That's going to match with DE. So we know those go together. Always use a similarity statement if you're given one. And then AC is the first and the last. DF is the first and the last. And then, obviously, the only thing that we have left is this guy. Okay. So let's do the scale factor first. It has to use the orange ones because they're the only ones that have 2 numbers. So we get 36 over 20. I believe we had this one earlier, but 4 goes into both, so it's 9 over 5. So 9 to 5. Okay, let's set up the x. I keep going left to right, so 27 over x. And I'm going to do equals the scale factor. Let's do that, 9 to 5. And then we'll do it with the y's. 25.2 over y equals 9 over 5. And we just cross multiply. 9x equals 27 times 5, which is 135, divided by 9. So x equals 15. And this is going to be 9y equals 25.2 times 5, which is 126, divided by 9, and y equals 14. Okay, this next one's not that challenging. Basically, there's a guy in a Washington monument, and they have height, and they have shadows. So you take the guy, he's 1.8 meters tall, and he's got a shadow that's 0.7. Then you have the Washington monument, which is very tall, which we don't know, so we'll call that x. We don't know its height. But we do know its shadow is 65.8. All we want to do is set up a proportion. Since it's taken at the same time, there should be a relative similarity between this. Again, a shadow is based upon the time of day and height. That will dictate how big your shadow is. So we could go height to shadow, height to shadow, and set up a proportion. So the height to my shadow should be the same proportion as the height of that to its shadow. And then we just use some basic calculations. This is 0.7x equals 1.8 times 65.8, which is kind of a little bit of a messy number. And then we just divide by 0.7. Make sure you do 0.7, not 7. That will make it much different. And we get 169.2 feet tall. All right, let's move it, let's groove it. Okay, are these triangles similar or not? So we have three different ways to prove triangles similar. That would be side, side, side similarity, angle, angle similarity, and side, angle, side similarity. So we have two sides, and I see an angle here. So I'm going to go with that's probably going to be side, angle, side similarity, or not similar. And again, we want to match. 12 is the small, and 16 is the small. So those are going to match. And 15 is large, and 24 is large. So we got to make sure we match the right ones. So I'm going to do 12 over 16, so left to right. And I'm going to do 15 over 24. And I'm going to simplify those. 6 goes into both of the, no it doesn't. 4 goes into both of those. That would be 3 over 4. And let's see what goes into those. 15 over 24. I don't know if that reduces correctly. That goes over to 5 over 8. So these do not reduce the same. They're both divisible by 3, but it doesn't quite hit it. So because of that, they're not proportional sides, so we would say none. Or not similar. Not similar. This next one here, we have no sides, so it has to be angle, angle, or it's nothing. And we have vertical, and we have parallel lines, so we'll have alternate interior, so this is definitely angle, angle. Those ones are my favorite. So P, A, S, so P is going to match up with F, because alternate interior, then A is going to match with A, and then C. We have all sides here, so it's probably going to be side, 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 if it works out. So match the small with the small. 8 should go with 10. 9 should go with the middle size one, which is 11.5, and then 12 and 15. So we get 8 over 10, we get 9 over 11.25, and we get 12 over 15. So 8 over 10, let's see, 2 goes into both, that would be 4 over 5. Let's check this one. That was a little bit more challenging. 12 over 15, I think 3 goes into both, which would be 4 over 5. I'm guessing that's also going to reduce down to 4 over 5. Again, harder to do. If you have a calculator, it will do it for you, which we can see right there that we would get 4 over 5. Another way we could just think of what would we have to divide 9 by to get there, and we could just do the decimal equivalency would work as well. So if you don't have that, you could just do 0.8, and 4 over 5 is 0.8. So you can always do the decimal equivalency if you can't turn it into a fraction, but it does check off for side, side, side similarity. And then we are going to do ADF, so that should match up with R. D should go with C, and then F is B. All right, next one. So we have the two triangles, so this little guy and then this big guy. This one's a little bit more challenging, but I'm thinking we could do side, angle, side, because we don't have this third side. So I want to do 32 to this piece, and then the whole thing to that piece. So 32 to, let's do it this side, so it's going to be 45 minus 9, which is 36, so that's 36. And then we want the whole side to this whole side, so 38 plus 8, that's 40, so it's going to be 40 to 45. And again, let's just simplify those real quick. That should be 8 over 9. You can also do decimals. 40 over 45 is 8 over 9. And then they share this common angle right there, so that will give us side, angle, side similarity. And then ACE should match up with BCD. Last one, it just gives us two congruent angles, so that was so easy, it's not even funny. We just make sure we line it up right, so that should be E, N, W. Perfect. The last page, let's set up some proportions. Again, you can kind of choose how to set them up, but I like to go top to bottom, keep it consistent. X over 6 equals 24 over 8. Yep, that's the belt. So we get 8x equals 6 times 24, which is 144. And then divide by 8, and we get x equals 18. Done. This one, again, you go top to bottom, so I'm going to do that. Again, just be consistent in how you set it up. Oh, we went dark. Hopefully you didn't miss too much. And we cross multiply. That's going to be, I'm just going to go a little bit faster. 22, that's going to be 66x plus 22. I'm going to subtract the 66x to give myself 4x over here. Add that, that's 32. And 32 divided by 4 is going to give me 8. This next one's a little bit more challenging. Basically, we need to find this piece right here, which is 35 minus the x. And then we can set this up pretty easily because it's this piece to this piece, and then this piece to this piece. So we get 20 over 8 equals 35 minus x over x. Cross multiply, we get 20x equals 8 times 35 is 280 minus 8x. I'm going to add the 8x over to get 28x equals 280, and then divide, and we get 10. We're not going to do the radical one, so we're just going to factor real quick. Negative 60 and negative 7, what two numbers multiply to that? So you just kind of have to go through the different ones. Here, it's probably not 6 and 10, that wouldn't work. But I'm thinking 5 and 12 will work. And negative 12 works. So we get x plus 5 and x minus 12. Basically, we just need to set both of those equal to 0, and we'll get our answer, which is going to be the opposites. So we get negative 5, positive 12. This one we can divide everything by 2, so we get 2 to come out. X squared plus 9x plus, that's going to be 18, I think. So what numbers multiply to 18 but add to 9? I believe that's going to be 6 and 3. So we get x plus 6, x plus 3. There's a 2 out in front, but we got to solve for it, so we just set these equal to 0 like we did here. We can get the opposites of negative 6 and negative 3. And that is it. All right. Good luck. May the force be with you. And also with you. Or something like that. I don't know. Goodbye.